Come on in, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Thanks for joining in. Welcome, everybody. Fantastic. Good to see you here. Come on in. Hello, hello. Man, I'm so excited that you're joining us this evening. My name is Jim Tanner. I'm going to be your host for the event this evening. We got folks joining us. I'm going to have a few people help me let them in. Here comes Lenore. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. I don't know how many of you were with us this morning when we announced that we're going to be doing the meet and greet Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This week, I'm going to talk about what that is. I've asked a few other people to help me share what that's all about, but it's big news. But as we get started, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things while we're letting people in. First of all, I see Lenore, you're here. So I'm going to hang on one second because I know I've got to set it. I've got this set so you can't unmute yourself. Stay with me, everybody. It's right here. There we go. Lenore, I'm coming out to you again. It's going to be Columbus Day weekend. And I was wondering if you could share some thoughts. I mean, obviously, you host people every month in your local market. I was out there last fall. We had a blast. But could you unmute and just spend 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds talking to the group about why it's so important to build into these live events? Not just because I'm going to be there, but wherever these big events are happening, I'll turn it over to you.
It's just very inspirational when it's one-on-one. One thing is to see it on the Zoom, but when you're hearing the person that maybe you've only seen on Zoom or these experts that are coming into your area and just being with other like-minded people, it's just, you feel more motivated, and you're not distracted because, when you're on Zoom, you could easily be looking at your phone or doing something else. But when you're live, you're not going to do that. You just learn so much. Sometimes there's just that one little extra nugget that you get, something that somebody says, you may have heard it before, but then the way they say it was just slightly different than somebody else. And it just really just takes you in a different direction. Like the light bulb can go off a lot of times.
Fantastic. You're going to be in charge of me when I get out there, right?
Sure.
All right. I already volunteered you for that. So listen, that sounds like it was a ways out. October. That's Columbus Day weekend, the Saturday. I don't have the date in front of me, but that's Columbus Day weekend. But I want to make sure that we're talking about this in this environment so everybody gets used to building into these markets. Of course, we got the 4 super regional events that are coming up. We're going to be in Anaheim, California, Indianapolis, Indiana, Houston, Texas, College Park, Maryland, with those big events. Hopefully, you're going to be joining us at those. We're going to be at the Riches Ranch August 8th and 9th for the big Financial Freedom Bootcamp. We have a lot of opportunities, but that's my October. I've already said yes, that's happening. In September, I'll be in Atlanta, Georgia. So, Joe, I know that we got a chance to hang out in Atlanta. When you went to your first Super Saturday, I'm coming in. They've asked, and I've answered, and I'll be there as your guest at the Super Saturday in Atlanta in September. So I'm excited for that. And then we'll have let's see, that's October, September. I'm going to be somewhere in August. I got to remember where that is. And but coming up June, at the end of June, 27th and 28th, I'll be in Tennessee. So that one's coming up quick. I'm going to be in Nashville and Memphis, Tennessee on those 2 dates. We'll get all this out to everybody. But what have you got going on in your local market? That's really the question. Not where's Jim Tanner going to be, because I can't be everywhere. But I want you to think about what's happening in your local market you can build into, and what's happening in markets where you want to have a presence that you can build into. Like, we have Millionaire Club members in every major market every month, speaking at the Super Saturday event. We can drive people to those events where that's happening in, really without exception. I mean, Alaska, I guess, is not getting a in-person Super Saturday every month, but Hawaii is. So every market is having at least one of those events. All right. So I want to make sure I talked about that because I was going to talk about it last week and then I forgot. But those events are going to come up, and there's more. I don't have it in front of me, but we'll get better at putting that calendar out. They're all on legalshowcalendar.com. Oh, I know another one. For those of you that are in the Northeast corridor here in New England, or if you have team in the market, we haven't done this in 10 years, but my wife and I are teaming up on May 31st to do a Super Saturday together in the Boston area. So that's on LegalShowCalendar.com. That's May 31st. If you've ever seen Dr. Russo speak, you know why it's impactful. If you haven't, it's hard to describe it because she has this perspective on what we do. And I should be the first person to tell you she's not sitting down and signing up members every day. That's not what she does, but her unique perspective as a criminologist and a professor of criminology at Boston University and all the research and study she's done over the past couple decades in the space, she really understands what it is we do and the impact that you and I have on the justice system when we place Legal Shield in people's hands. So if you have your skeptic friends, if you have spouses and partners that you want to get in front of a real live, like honest to goodness, straight talker, my wife's the one to put them in front of, and we're going to do that again on May 31st in the Boston suburbs, Marlborough, Massachusetts. We call it Venture X, the place we do that, and that's on LegalShowCalendar.com also. So the big news coming out today was that we have 3 days of meet and greet events starting tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evening. And we're going to talk about this tonight. And I've asked John Fehrenbach, Teresa Burke, specifically, I've lined them up. Although if there's anybody else, Sam David, I know you're here. I see you on the screen. Lenore, Maria Perkins, folks that were with us when we did these meet and greet events. At one point we did these Monday through Friday. It was COVID. Everybody was home. We didn't have any other place to be. So we were doing these 5 nights a week. And they were very impactful on our business. But of course, as people got busy, we got back out and meeting with people, signing up business owners, signing up their employees, doing in-person events. Then the idea that you could 5 nights a week just be in front of your computer, that became a little hard to schedule. So we moved on from that, but it's a powerful tool that we have here. And I just wanted to give you first a little synopsis of what this is. So although this will seem like in your mind, if you've never experienced this, that it's the same as a business opportunity overview, it isn't, because here's essentially what happens is this is an event. And again, we're going to do this tomorrow night, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central. We're using the Success Team Zoom. So it's stwzoom.com. 5 o'clock p.m. Central, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. These are 30-minute sessions, and they're designed for people that have already seen the business overview. They're designed for people that have already seen, for example, the Mark Rich's video, or one of our live business overview events, or have been through our company orientation video, but have not yet joined as an associate. So these are your guests, your prospects that have seen a complete presentation, but have not made the decision to get started. So what do we do with these folks? Well, we used to call this presentation the 3 legs of the stool, which actually got adopted into the Legal Shield business overview. But we talked to them about the opportunity, a little bit about our company, a little bit about our half-century of history. We talk about the compensation with 1-year advance commission, 7-day-a-week deposits, the ability to own your residual book of business. But we compact that into about 5 or 6 minutes right at the top. Then the second leg of the stool, we talk about the system. We show them the archive of all of the trainings that exist in the Success Team system. We show them the tools and the websites that you get on day one, so that people understand that they're not just getting a business, but they're getting an entire business. Plug and play, copy and paste to get started right away. And then the third leg of the stool is our community. And this is really what makes this a meet and greet, is we show the people that are with us that you are in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself. So we're going to bring on every night of these 3 nights, associates that are new in the business and moving quickly, associates that are kind of mid-career here with us, been around for a while, folks have been around forever, maybe Millionaire Club members or 6-figure ring earners. And we're going to present them all in a rapid fire testimonial session so they can hear all of the variety of stories and all the different types of backgrounds and types of people that have what in common. That we're all Legal Shield independent associates, that we're all locked into the vision that started with Harlan Stonecipher, equal access to justice for all, and that we're all focused on growing a business together and supporting and championing each other as we do that. So It's a powerful thing that we do. Now, I believe that while doing it 5 nights a week, that's certainly something that is from a different era when we were all home. And there's probably a right amount of time to do it. But we're going to do these 3 sessions together. And this is one of those things you do in business. You call it plan, do, and review. And we're just going to really see how much of an impact can we have. Now, I'm going to come back and talk about some best practices, and I'm going to lean on some of the other leaders to help me with best practices tonight as well. But I want to start with you, Teresa Burke in Virginia Beach, because I think about when we first really got to know Teresa Burke as a champion recruiter, that was around the same time that we were doing this basically every day. And maybe you can talk a little bit about the history of that and the experience for you and for your team as you were growing it. Over to you.
Okay, so I am going to try to contain my excitement about this. So, and I have to say try and contain, because the meet and greet for a while there, the meet and greet was everything. It was what I drove my day around. It was, if I was getting anything done, it had to be done by a certain time. I made sure that those marks that I wanted to hit, like every single day I had that, okay, before, it has to be done before 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm Eastern. So it has to be done before 6 p.m. Eastern. I have to make sure whatever I'm doing is, that I have that mark of 5:30, because when 5:30 comes, my goal was always to have 10 people on the meet and greet that had gotten through their company orientation training. Now, it wasn't always 10, right? People have different things, but then the volume was there more so because it was COVID and we were recruiting so many people. So so every single night I was not only resold and re-energized by listening to all of the other people that were there that were the team, right? So not only do you really get that real solid, like, well, I'm going to see this person later tonight, or I get to be around these people, or I get to talk with these people, or, whatever it was, that team cohesion was really important. It wasn't a Monday or a Thursday. And I think I agree with Jim that I don't know that it would need to be an every single day of the week thing, but 3 days a week is even really cool, especially for this week, because not everybody's going to be available at the same time, right? So when you talk to that guest and you say, hey, if you can have this done before tomorrow, and they're like, oh, that's really pushing it. Okay, well, you know what? I think that I might be able to get you set up for the next one. You don't want to just, say, oh, we do one of those every single day. But, you want them to have some striving just the same as you are for what is coming next. And I want y'all to really understand that I hadn't met any, people that were millionaires or that had made $1 million doing anything really before Legal Shield. So for me, I knew that, that was one of those spaces that getting on that call or getting on that meet and greet where it's actually the team is I'm surrounding myself with those people. And remember, a lot of these people that we're talking to, they've never been in that space. They don't have any millionaires in their phone. They can't call somebody that, has made $1 million doing anything. So for a lot of reasons, just to be in the same Zoom space even is something that is pretty incredible for them. And I made myself some notes just to make sure, because I think that hearing the testimonials from the other people, we try to make sure that it's different. It's not the same people every time, but hearing the testimonials, you see how things change and evolve. And we literally become different people when we are striving for something different tomorrow than we did today. And so I feel like that's also one of those things that really gave me the space to grow in that, because I knew that tomorrow I wanted to have more people on that than today. If I made 50 calls today and I only got 6 people on there, well, I was, it was my goal to make an extra 25 tomorrow so that I could make sure that I added 2 more. And the goal is to share the information with people in a way that they know they're supported. And 100%, that is, for me at least, that is what that was. And you can feel it. It's a palpable energy, when we are all, I know not in the same room necessarily, but kind of in the same Zoom room, right? It's a palpable energy that, you can feel when we're all in there and we're all doing it together. So I hope I wasn't too excited for you guys tonight, but again, I am really, really excited about what this means for all of our business moving forward. And, if there's ever anything I can do to help, feel free to reach out, because, we are a team and we work together for a reason. Thanks for letting me share, Jim.
Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that. And you hit on that one thing that I want to make sure we amplify tonight, which is you said, we don't have to tell people that we're doing this for 3 nights in a row. Like the folks I was talking to today about getting through the orientation video, I was giving them a target of 4 tomorrow night's meet and greet. And I only talked about the Tuesday night meet and greet. As a matter of fact, one lady, I was really tempted because she said, "Oh, I just can't make it." And I was tempted to say, "Well, don't worry, we're also going to do it on Wednesday." But I've been doing this long enough. I knew that wasn't going to be helpful. I said, "Well, maybe I can get you the recording of it. I'll find out. But let's just get you through the orientation. Let's get that done, because the benefit of having 3 is for you, but the benefit of creating urgency is just focusing on the next one, which is, again, it's tomorrow night, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central. Make that adjustment for your time zone. And so what did my email out to you guys tonight say? It said, I was going to say, when is it? Well, that's what it is. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What is it? I think that what to say when inviting guests. Well, we just kind of talked about that. I'm sure that's going to come up more. And how to maximize the momentum is going to become really clear after you see the first one if you've never seen this before. Because what you're going to find is that the more people you can get in front of this, the more decisions you're going to collect immediately. Like as the host, not only am I going to introduce and go over these concepts of, again, what I call the 3 legs of the stool, but at the end, I'm going to walk them through exactly what to do to get back to you, to get signed up. I'm going to talk to them about what the investment is to get started, why the investment just flat out makes sense compared to the value proposition of being involved with us. It's $49 and get the services in place is going to seem like a very small consideration compared to what they're learning about in that environment. So it's going to be really exciting for you. John Fehrenbach, I'd love for you to come on. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that you are already here, like Teresa, recruiting and building when we introduced the meet and greets, which I didn't tell them this one piece of the reason we started them, which was that we'd gotten so much going on throughout the day, we couldn't get back to everybody. So we started these group sessions and later found a formula, called it the meet and greet, but it started out like, we just can't get back to everybody because it was that COVID time when everybody was home and wanted to talk to us. But we'd love to hear your thoughts as well today as an executive director working towards your $50,000 ring. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, so I was kind of in my infancy in this business, and we turned on those meet and greets, and that like electrified my business. I mean, it was just like I had no idea what I was in store for, and I was just thrilled to be able to use it to propel people through the orientation and to get them in front of the team. And tonight, what I really want to emphasize that we need everybody that's in this room to be on those meet and greets. We need the room to be 100, 200 people of us in that room so that we can show the new people that we're inviting to become associates that this is the team. This whole group of people is rowing in the same direction that we are, and we have access to all of these people, and they all want to be helpful, and they want to be there for us. And that's, I mean, I that's what I used it for. I'd say, hey, Bill, just so you know that it's just not me in some room, I'd like to invite you to our team's meet and greet. There's probably going to be 100+ people in the room, and we're going to learn, a couple more things, get a little bit more training, and you'll get to meet a number of people that are involved with the team. And just being able to say that and give them a perspective that it's not just this voice, if you will, that they're hearing on the other end of the phone, which is me, a few videos that they don't know where they're from by a guy named Riches, right? as Mr. Corley likes to say. And it's so powerful. It's just so powerful. And when Jim had brought this up, Teresa, I'm the same way, man. I'm just like giddy with excitement about these meet and greets coming to fruition here over the next 3 days. And I'm going to be at every one of them because I think it's important to support you guys as my business partners and to bring as many people with me to those meetings as I can. So yeah, absolutely use these meetings. The to invite people to them, and make sure you tell them you're inviting them. It's not we have an open meeting that you're welcome to join. I can get you an invitation to our team meet and greet if you can get through this orientation information. Or if it's somebody that's old and on your books for a while, hey, listen, I got a special invitation I would like to extend to you to join us at this team meet and greet. Don't give them any information other than when it is and what time it is until they say, yeah, I can be there. Then share the website with them and tell them you'll make sure spots held. And you know, I think, you know, for me, you know, you just need to create that specialty about it. And it makes a big difference, I think, in the associates world. Jim, back to you.
John, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And I'm not sure who's in a place where they can unmute. So Sam David, I'm just looking at you. I know Sonora's at a banquet for her son's sports, so I'm not sure if she's somewhere where she can unmute, but or Maria, I don't know, Maria, I believe you were recruiting through the meet and greet era when we were doing it again every day. And I promise to, I don't care how effective it is, we're not going to do it every day because it will become less effective very quickly. So this is going to be a special event. It's designed to make a big impact ahead of Memorial Day weekend so that we don't lose any momentum with this long weekend being positioned at the end of the month.
Hey, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Just to interrupt just quickly, I don't think anybody else can unmute if they wanted to.
Thank you very much. Hang on 1 second. Okay, I think I got that fixed now. But if I'm wrong, text me. Maria, how did I do?
Am I on?
You are.
Oh dear, okay. I wasn't sure. Okay, yes. Was I answering a question?
You we were talking well, we were just talking about the meet and greets coming up, and if you want to add anything about that, feel free.
It's just that the choice of being able to bring everything live, if you can't physically be there or drag somebody across the city to meet with you, this is the easiest step. You know, it would meet to everybody's schedule. I mean, what are their excuses? And it's a good way for us to know who's really interested, who's going to either waste our time or our time's going to be valuably used at, you know, putting effort into their training.
Thank you, Maria. I think that's a great point too, because you know, so here's this interesting thing that happens. We overcorrect all the time. That's probably all business, but Legal Shield is the business I've been in for 2 decades. So I've watched just this. We do this thing called overcorrecting. So we had no choice when we went into COVID to overcorrect massively to the virtual world. It was the only world we had. And so we learned really quickly, and I'm proud of us, we learned really quickly how to navigate that virtual world. And so we went to a world where nobody could come to us, because prior to COVID, we had all these great events happening across the map. You've all heard me say this, but nobody could come to us all of a sudden. So we got very good at efficiently bringing Legal Shield to them. And that was great. But now we're past that, and we've now probably to some degree overcorrected to live events. In seeking balance, we've gone all the way the other way. Everything we talk about, it sounds like, is you have to be in person somewhere. Well, our business has always been both. We bring people to the Legal Shield story. We bring them to a live event in their neighborhood, a coffee shop event, so you know, a happy hour event, a traditional business overview that's happening in their community. We bring them to Super Saturday in the big city nearby. We are always bringing people to Legal Shield. But there's always going to be people that we can't bring them to Legal Shields. But the great news is, more than ever, because of technology, we can bring Legal Shield to them. And a big piece of that is like the Mark Rich's video, business overviews, Zooms, or the Prospect app videos. So we've got all the ways to bring Legal Shield to people. This is just another way to marry those two things. And this way we can bring the Legal Shield story, but the whole story in a live event setting. So again, what we're looking for you to do to maximize this opportunity for your business is to spend this time tomorrow, you know, tonight, tomorrow, having a little urgency around people get to attend this if, and you get to decide what comes after if. Now you might want them to watch one of the business overview videos that's in the Prospect app. So you decide that's what you're going to communicate. You're going to say, well, if once you've watched this video, if you can watch this video now, then I can get you an invitation to our meet and greet. For others like myself, and you've heard us talking about the company orientation, we like that company orientation. Someone creates a guest account, and then they watch the orientation video. That's a great carrot at the end, and you can say that to get somebody to finish the video. If you can get this done today, I can get you an invite to our meet and greet. So that's kind of what your role is. And to Teresa's point and others, is it gives you some rails to run on. Because honestly, what do we have the rest of our lives to recruit people, right? And we feel this part, they have the rest of their lives to decide. So if we can just put a little box around that sometimes, it allows people with proper urgency, which is different than pressure or improper urgency, or like begging people or chasing them down, but with just some appropriate urgency around getting them to take a step so that they can get to the next step. You're going to find that'll work out. And maybe tomorrow will be the most clumsy day of all of this for you, as you are inviting people to see something you've never seen before and you're not sure about. But then once you experience it for yourself, I predict that it'll all come together for you. And the people, this is the magic of doing 3 days in a row. Because some of you might say, well, why didn't you just do every Wednesday for the next 4 weeks? Because this is a momentum maker. See, the people that join off of the meet and greet on Tuesday are going to be bringing people to the meet and greet on Wednesday in your team. That's called depth and duplication. And so we're going to get that duplication going in your team as well. Isn't that cool? Let's see. Anybody else? Sam, Lenore, is that anything you want to comment on that? I know I'm doing all the talking. You can wave me off if you don't have anything to add. Are you still not able to unmute? Okay, hang on. How about now?
There we go. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I wasn't able to participate in some of them because of my work schedule. I work some crazy hours, like till 10 o'clock at night, but just being able to know, hey, I can invite people to come and know that they're going to be able to hear from people other than myself and be able to learn, even if I'm not there, so then kind of like, I know that they're in good hands, that I'm sending them someplace safe. They're going to get good information. They're going to meet some of the people that they'll get a chance to hear about and meet on different other calls, but just that personal touch and to know that it's real, that it's not some like John was saying earlier, it's not just some voiceless thing or some, what is this company, but seeing there's real people that are involved, and I think it brings credibility.
Thank you, Lenore. I appreciate that. And you're going to see that, as the testimonial piece is going to be the thing that gets you excited. Like everything else I'm going to say before I introduce the testimonials, you've heard. But when people come in and share their story in this rapid fire thing, and we give them each 2 minutes, so it's going to be 4, 5, 6 people each day, and they're just doing a 2-minute version of their story. Who they are, why they joined Legal Shield, what they want out of life, what they've accomplished so far, and then what we're going to be doing is displaying the diversity, people from different backgrounds, different cities and states, people with different situations, people that that have had to overcome the same things that your prospects are using as the reason why they're not going to get started. See, you can't. This is what's so powerful is the prospect. If the reason they're not going to get started is because they're too busy, and then I put 6 busy people in front of them, they can't use that as a reason not to get started. If your prospect feels that they wouldn't be successful here because they have no sales background, but I give them 6 testimonials of people that had no sales background but have succeeded in Legal Shield, they've got to get started. You see what I mean? We're taking down appropriately the bricks, the barriers that keep people from making the decision that would ultimately benefit them the most. So we do it, and again, it's a low pressure, highly informative, but also a very exciting environment. So I'm excited that we're going to have that together. And then so I want to make sure we talked about that. So I started out talking about live events, because who in your team are going to be the people plugging into live events like Super Saturdays and the Super Regionals, and who's going to be coming from your team to be at the big event in Cookeville, Tennessee? It's going to be the people you recruit. Like you've got to get them into this business before they're ever going to be in those rooms, right? And so I don't want to sound like, that seems elementary, right? And it's obvious. but it's so obvious we got to talk about it. Like, they're not going to join. They're not going to be at the Rich's Ranch seeing that and experiencing it for themselves and making decisions about taking this business seriously if we can't get them in the business in the first place. So that's why the urgency now, end of May, to get recruiting in your business to a level where you're finding people that are serious about sticking with the business. And really, it's really just as simple as that. Now, the Rich's Ranch event in August is what I want to spend about 15 minutes talking about, and I was kind of want to train you on the impact that this event is going to have. But I think it was important for us to talk about this because for this year, for the first time in many years, this one event on the calendar, which, tell me if I'm wrong, everybody, it's August 8th and 9th, I believe, right? Someone will fact check me in the chat, but I believe it's Friday and Saturday, August 8th and 9th, Cookeville, Tennessee. But the reason that I want to have a very frank conversation with you about this is that it has been years since it's existed in such a crowded, noisy live event calendar. Right, so we've got super regionals in July and August and September and October. We got the international convention in April, which, you know, we only have 11 months until we're back at an international convention. For the last several years, one of the benefits of this Cookeville event has been there hasn't been a lot of other things on the calendar. Even the Super Saturdays in your city, we were just getting those going over the last couple of years to where they are today. So you have a crowded calendar, and as a team, as leaders, it makes sense that you're asking yourself and being asked by your team, what the heck am I supposed to go? What am I going to, right? I can't go to everything because that doesn't make any sense. You can't just never build your business and just tour around and go to events. The events are regional, like super regionals, right? It's right in the title, because we're bringing the convention experience to an area of the country to get more people to come out and experience that than they would get. Well, not that they would get if they go to the convention, but we know not everybody goes to the convention. So what we're doing is we're saying, hey, Anaheim is going to get a super regional. So because we can probably get most of the West Coast to go to Anaheim, but they won't go like to Baltimore, right? They wouldn't go all the way across to Baltimore to go to the convention. So we're bringing mini conventions. That's what the super regionals are. That's the whole point of that. So if you're in, you know, wherever you are in the country, if you're saying, well, am I supposed to go to all of these super regionals? No, you're not. And I know that that's confusing when I get on a call and say I am. And you can, but I'm going to see all of you because I have all of you in these regions. I'm going to sit with you and learn with you and support you in these regions. And frankly, I'm at a position in my business where I can do that, and in my life, because I've been in a position in my business where I could do that. I used to have a little baby. Now I have a grown-up kid. So I'm in a different place where I can do that. And I'm coming out to all of your regions, but that doesn't mean you got to go to every region. But you're also welcome to, if that makes sense for you. So we got these 4 regional events. But the thing I wanted to talk about Cookeville is if you're saying to yourself, what's the one thing this summer? I can do one thing, Jim. What's the one thing this summer? The Cookeville event is the one thing. And I'm telling you that I want to express to you why that is. Number one, team culture. You've got a great company. And it is exciting to be able to go and be in a building with 5,000 people in your company with you, focused on the same thing, rowing in the same direction as you. And to know that there's even more of us out there that believe in the same cause. But ultimately, it has to get distilled down to the people who can support you, who can take your calls and call you back, be on the other end of a text or an email. And that happens at the team level. That's why our company is organized in teams. So if you want to imagine it like basketball, you know, we're kind of wrapping up basketball season. So Legal Shield is like the NBA. And then you've got the Celtics and the Lakers and the Knicks, right? That's kind of how we do it. Because we know that those cultures existing, even though everybody helps everybody, those cultures existing are beneficial to the company. We've proven that historically. And then we have, outside of those silos of teams, we have people that are in these regional vice president roles and regional manager roles that operate team agnostic. So we help everybody. That's kind of like our role. It's something we signed up for. But for you and I, the thing to understand is the team culture is the ultimate culture. And so that's where you want to bring your new growing business, is to be in those spaces where the team is primarily. Now, what are they going to get at Rich's Ranch? You and your team. If you've never been, what you're going to get is incredible training. So we're all going to be there. Mike Riches is coming in. I'm coming in. Chris Evans will be there. John Fehrenbach's coming. We're going to have great training. Chris Corley lives there. Mark Riches lives there. We're going to have great training from people that are seeing it, living it, and doing it every day. And all day Friday, we're going to spend that time together. This room seats 100 people. We're going to sell it out. It's just going to be 100 of us. We're going to spend that time together, learning together. We're going to talk high level, but we're going to teach high level stuff that everybody can be a part of. So even if you're a brand new associate, I want you to bring your brand new associates. I'm bringing my brand new associates. I've got people in my mind. I haven't even recruited them yet, but I'm going to recruit them in, July, and they're going to be there, brand new. And they're going to hear how to become an executive director and lock it in, how to make $100,000 a year minimum, how to become a millionaire club member in 10 years or less. That's what they're going to hear from people who are doing it. So we want to get your team members in front of that, exposed to those folks, those big thinkers, those high-level achievers. We want to make sure that everybody in your team is getting exposed to that. That's important, right? That's where that's going to happen. And in that same room where they're meeting people that they can be business partners with, as a matter of fact, Lenore, I'm going to put you back to work here in a second. Business partners with, confidants with, people that they are going to travel with. Now Lenore knows why I'm going to pull her back in. Those are where those relationships are going to come from. So the reason I'm saying that to Lenore and why she's smiling is because she's got this group of people that they just, I'll let you tell the story, Lenore, but they support each other in these profound ways, look out for each other, and have been for years. And the reason they all know each other is because a live event brought them together. Why don't you talk about it? I'm going to do a terrible job. Share with everybody what I'm trying to talk about real close.
Well, actually, it all started in Cookeville. I started October of 2017. At that time, the Cookeville event was in December. And I knew nobody. I'm here in Michigan. You're in Boston. Everybody was everywhere. And I was like, but I didn't want to have to pay for a hotel room by myself. So I asked you, who could I room with? And you sent me to Karen Ward. And we got to know each other. And we've been friends ever since. But our little group then grew to Oklahoma. We got an Airbnb. And then ever since then, in fact, we're going to Cookeville. We have the same Airbnb we've had the last 3 years. Same place, 5-bedroom house. And it's just like 2 miles from the hotel. And it's great, just a place to crash, and it's less expensive. And we go shopping, but we got to know each other. We picked up Lisa along the way. We put Venus in Dallas. Laura joined us. And so, we've grown, and now we can only fit so many people in the Airbnb, but yeah, but it's just fun to reconnect because we don't see each other, but maybe once or twice a year, except we talk, and we have a daily chat that we also do. So we encourage each other. If anybody's feeling down, or we just pump each other up, or share some ideas. What would you do here? If we remind people of different events. So it's on a daily basis, we are there saying good morning to each other. So it's just been a really cool experience, and it keeps you kind of tied to the group.
And Lenore, so we can make the point, these people aren't all in your downline. You guys are,
No.
what you have in common is you're part of this team that we're all.
That's right. That's right.
We're all supporting each other cross line, sideline.
And we're literally we have people from Luz from California. We have Lisa from Maine. We have Laura's up in New Hampshire. We have Venus in South Carolina, Karen in New Mexico. We get people all over the place, and it's one great way to get together and get to know each other. And then we usually, after the Cookeville event, we'll go to downtown Nashville the next day and just have fun down there together too. So
I love that. So the point I wanted to make, thank you for that, is that when I say that these live events are the glue, they're glued together. I mean, they travel together. But then in between those events, you heard they've got a group chat, they're supporting each other. There's probably been times where some of that group had decided they weren't going to the event, but then went because the rest of the group was going to be there. So as you're building your team, you got to understand that these are the things that they don't really show up in the instructions. This is the kismet. This is where it's more art than science. It's getting people to meet each other. And what happens is people come together. They find ways to fill each other's needs. The one person's strength is somebody else's weakness, and they combine together and become more powerful. And that happened. And I kind of forgot that part of that story is Cookeville, Tennessee. So I'm glad for that. So that's good, and things like that. So that's why this specific event is so important, because you're getting Legal Shield, but you're also getting everything else. You're getting the team level contact. You're getting the history. And the one thing about this team that's unique is we built you a platform. We built you tools and support. We built you a system for gathering your own leads and using existing leads. We've got all of that in here for you. And there's no other event all year where you're going to learn how to deploy those advantages, because this is the only setting where we do that is when we're together in Cookeville, Tennessee, because it's just our team. So we can talk about our team's tools. So if you can understand the importance of that and maybe clearing your schedule to some degree to participate in that event, then what's the best practice for building into that? And some of you have heard me tell this story that I once went to an event and I had already learned how to recruit, but I learned later that recruiting is really only a piece of the business. You know, you can recruit a bunch of people, put them in your downline and never talk to them and never hear from them and never get any results from them. That's recruiting. And it's kind of like a lot of lost effort. It doesn't really get you anywhere. So I'll just tell the story, the quick version. So where I experienced the mistake I was making as a new top recruiter in the team. And by the way, I was only a top recruiter because I'd gotten very good at exposing and following up every day, consistent exposures and follow-ups. And then all of a sudden people were joining because it's Legal Shield. People are going to join. So all I did is exposures and follow-ups. I didn't know how to lead people. And because I just did exposures and follow-ups, people were joining my team. But I thought back then that people would join the team and just figure it out on their own. So I was in Oklahoma City. We were in Ada, Oklahoma at the home office. It was the first big event. We used to do home office events. We're going to bring those back. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But we have this training room at the home office that we use. And this was one of those things, we didn't have Zoom back then, so people didn't know what each other looked like, but they had heard my name a lot on the conference calls. So when I was there at the event, all the other people in the team wanted to meet me. They were excited to hear about this guy that was doing recruiting in large numbers, and which felt pretty good. If I don't mind saying so myself, it felt good to be recognized. Nobody ever recognized me for delivering furniture. I can promise you that. But all of a sudden, people were excited to meet me. It felt good for a minute, because they also wanted to know who in the room was in my team. They kept asking, like, well, who here is from your team? Because see, they had recognized that I was a top recruiter. So they made an assumption that I brought my team with me to this event, but I had not. As a matter of fact, nobody from my team was there. I was there by myself. And I was starting to quickly realize that I made a mistake, and I was a little bit embarrassed, but I said, well, I can fix this. And I started taking great notes when we started this session. And by noon, by their lunch break, I knew there was no way I was going to bring back the experience just by what I'd written on those pages. I knew I couldn't. I mean, by the time we did a lunch break, Linda Pitt had spoken, Mark Riches had spoken, Chris Evans had trained us, and then home office staff had been in. And then during the lunch break, they were taking people on tours around the home office. And if you've been to the home office, even if I could have brought home the training, I could have never brought home the experience of walking those halls. So I'd realized the mistake I made. But I was in a fortunate position. Here was the position. We were 6 months away. As we sat in that room in Ada, we were 6 months away from the Cookeville event that was on the calendar. So I just made a decision that day. I said, I realize now that I'll never be able to recreate for my team what I experienced here. So when we get to Cookeville, they got to come with me. And I just made that a non-negotiable for me. Now, did everybody in my team come? No. But it was very interesting that by the time we got to Cookeville, half of that room was my team, because I had set this focused intention that I realized they got to be in the rooms with me. Some of you were in Baltimore, and the only regret you have, you don't regret going, you regret that your team wasn't with you. And you can use that as the fuel to fill this room in Cookeville, Tennessee with your people. Because when I arrived, first of all, let me tell the rest of this story. When I arrived in Cookeville, I was an executive director. Now, how did that happen? I got even more involved in recruiting, even more focused. I had a goal. I said, I'm going to be an executive director when we get there. It happened halfway along the way. About 90 days in, I was starting to executive director qualify, because I was accumulating this team, and they were buying into the vision that we're going to be together in Cookeville. I was recruiting them all over the country like we do now, but with the assumption that they were going to be in Cookeville for the big event. And I didn't talk to them about any other events. I talked to them about that one event. So that's where we are now with this calendar. It's very heavy. So I focused them in on the one thing that I wanted to do with them, which was get them in that environment with me, in front of the people that I knew what they were going to say and what they were going to deliver. And so that's what I did. And that's what I recommend you do is, number one, be with us in Cookeville, like make that decision, get a ticket. I'm telling you, this is not a thing where you're going to go in and half the room's going to be empty. That's not going to happen. You're going to need to be proactive about tickets for this, because once we fill that room up, when I was there last year and we were setting it up, we said, well, the best we can do is remove the tables. Like, we could get a few more people in than we did last year. We were technically sold out, but we could have removed the tables in the front. We let people in the front sit at tables so you could take notes. We knew we could take those tables out, and maybe we could get one more or two more rows in. I mean, it's that tight. So we want to make sure that you're there. So get your ticket. I would be so bold as to say, get some more, but also don't hoard tickets. If you do that, if you buy 5 tickets, I say that's a heck of a leader that does that. But make sure that there's 5 people in those seats. Like, I don't want empty seats, because we don't need the money for the tickets. The only reason we charge for the seats, I'm all over the place, but I'll just tell you this. The only reason we charge is because we did this for free. And guess what? We would have 1,000 people pre-register for it. And then Nicole or whoever at the home office is literally calling, maybe not 1,000, but calling hundreds of people, asking them if they're really coming. So we experimented with pricing. $10, people still did it like that, and we didn't know who was coming. $100, people complained. So we got it down, I think it's like $39. It's about the right amount of money where we know that you're probably coming if you buy a ticket. That's the only reason we charge for it, because just we never knew in the past who was coming and who wasn't. So But that, anyway, that's off track. So number one is get your ticket. Number two is recruit, knowing what your plan is to put people in those seats, because we've got a couple of months here to get this done. But if you're like, some of you are in Atlanta, you're just going to drive up. Some of you, wherever you are, I shouldn't have said any towns, but I mean, some of you are in places where you're just going to drive up. You don't have a lot of travel consideration. The hotels are cheap in Cookeville in the summer. That's why we're doing it in the summer instead of, we used to do it at Christmas time. Then we'd have to worry about the weather, but also we couldn't have the pool party. But also it was really difficult because the hotels are really expensive because there's a lot of events. In the summer, it's kind of a college town. Everybody leaves. So we get $99, $109 hotel rooms, whatever it is, $140. So it's very affordable. And it's very drivable from the Carolinas, from Georgia, from Kentucky. So you can build your team into this and get them there. And the flights are pretty reasonable into Nashville and into Atlanta, so that people can drive in from those 2 airports. So number one, make the decision to be with us. And maybe you're saying, Jim, I'm not going to do that, but I'll be in Houston. Okay, I will be there too, and I support that decision. Or I can't do it, but I'll be in Indianapolis. I support that decision. I'm just giving you the advice based on a lot of time doing this, that if there's only one you can do, and if the stars will align that you can do August with us in Cookeville, that's your best bet. But if you have to pivot to one of the other events and take the same advice, but drive into one of those events, the advice is still just as good. Get your ticket, and get your team focused on being at that event with you. And then if you have stragglers for some other event, just know that there'll be leaders that'll be at those other events that can do that, that can be your face at those events for you. Because we'll scoop up all of your team and make sure that they're there. So what are they going to learn? They're going to learn. What are we promoting that they're going to learn? We're promoting that they're going to learn how to be an ED every month, how to make $100,000 a year, and that's true. What are they going to really learn? What you heard from Lenore, that they're in business for themselves but not by themselves. What you've been hearing me say, which is that there's people that have made millions of dollars, and those people did not ride off into the sunset. They're right there in the same room, sitting down, breaking bread, teaching you the business. That's what they're going to learn. They're going to learn that not only are they not in it by themselves, but they're in it with people who've already done the thing that they want to do. And the people who've already done the thing they want to do are real people and relatable and not weird, like just normal people, normal business owners that truly believe that they can do it too. That's who you're putting your people in front of when you get them to Cookeville in August. So I know we're running out of time. So let me close with the thing that matters the most because of the urgency of this, which is tomorrow's meet and greet. So that's at stwzoom.com. That's the Success Team Zoom link. It's at 5:00 p.m. Central. So you have to make your own adjustment for that. I'm hoping, as some of you heard this morning, Mark Riches is traveling. I'm hoping that he or Nicole will put out an email to the entire team, because as John said, the bigger the attendance of all of us. So even if you don't have a guest that's going to join for whatever reason, be with us, help us by showing up, being there, participate in the chat, have your camera on, big smile, leaning in, nodding, agreeing with the speakers. That's your job tomorrow. Sometimes you need the meeting, right? Like if you have guests tomorrow, you're going to need the meeting. You're going to need everybody else to be on their A game. You're going to need me as your host to deliver it and not fumble around for my words. You're going to need my conviction. You're going to need my belief. I'm going to transfer that. Some days, like tomorrow might be your day where you need the meeting because you've got the guests coming. But then there's going to be other days where the meeting needs you. Maybe you don't have guests, but that means we still need you to participate, to fill in a square, to be a person that is bringing energy and enthusiasm so that the people that are coming in as guests get that full experience and that your business partners that brought guests don't have to wonder if this is the right environment for them. Again, it's 3 days. We'll plan, do, and review. We'll look at the numbers. We'll see how it went. We'll ask you for your feedback at the end of 3 days. We'll see if it merits continuing it on. My prediction is that you're going to like this very much if you've never experienced it before, because it is something that has allowed us to drive the business in unique ways, meaning it allows people to make a very independent decision in an environment of positivity that they otherwise typically would be just at home, weighing it out on their own, watching TV, scrolling social media, talking to their spouse, and trying to make a decision. But we put them in an environment, a positive environment, the best immersive environment you can get without being inside of a physical space. And that is why so many people make the decision to get started with us when we do the meet and greet. So we had a great event tonight. Thank you for all that you do. We didn't get to really talk about the success of the team, but Performance Club is up. Production is up. Recruiting is up. Not as much as I'd love, but we're going to fix that in the next 3 days. So you guys are winning in the month of May. You guys are making things happen in your personal businesses. We got people getting level up bonuses. We got people that are getting some of you have plaques coming in the mail because you've just leveled up. They're coming soon. They're going to be coming to you. So we got a lot of the best stuff happening. To amplify that, we want to continue having success happen at your house, but also to help build that success to your entire team. It's true. I've heard it a million times. Speed of the leader determines the speed of the pack. Now that's easy to hear, and it's even easy to agree to. Sometimes what's hard to hear is you're the leader, right? Speed of the leader determines the speed of the pack. Sounds good when we point to someone else as the leader, but you are the leader of your Legal Shield business. And the speed of your business is going to be dependent on your focus and your fire and your ability to direct your energy towards this business every single day. Not all day, but every day. So I'm grateful for all that you do. the impact you're making, the way that we continue to grow this team. The next executive directors are going to show up soon. I don't know who's next, but I know they're coming soon. The next ring earners are coming soon. The next millionaire club member is right around the corner. So we have a lot of great stuff to be excited about here in the team. And I want you to be excited about the business that you're a part of, because success is happening in your neighborhood. Let's make sure it's knocking on your door. Now, let's get the heck out of here. Hey, listen, what you do matters, and it's important, noble work. And I am grateful that you and I get to do it together. But I want to remind you that even though the Zoom is over, the work that we do has just begun. Good night, everybody.